Hi, I'm Mark Raven. This is a bonus video for the course Mistake Proofing that I've taught for TKMG Academy. Unless you've converted fully to electric vehicles or other alternative fuels, you probably use a gas pump on a regular basis or can remember using one. Gas pumps present a range of mistake proofing types, ranging from warnings and cautions to clever methods that make it virtually impossible to make certain mistakes. The best form of mistake proofing is one that makes it impossible for us to make a certain mistake. The first thing we generally do is to get our credit card authorized. Years ago, all pumps asked us to swipe our credit card, pushing it in and pulling it out to swipe the magnetic strip. The card didn't leave our hand, so the risk of leaving it behind was very low. But now, with chip cards, we insert the card and wait. During this time, I generally open the fuel tank door and remove the cap, making use of that card authorization waiting time. Now that the card has left my hand, I might forget to retrieve it before I drive away. Here's the mistake proofing. Some pumps beep and force you to remove the card before you can start pumping gas. This design makes it easier to do the right thing, taking your card with you. Another mistake we might make is choosing the wrong grade of unleaded fuel, which would usually be the result of pushing the wrong button on the pump. This isn't mistake-proofed because the impact of the mistake is minimal. If I mistakenly choose a lower octane than I intended, my vehicle's engine performance might suffer a bit, but I'll get where I need to go and no damage is done. If I choose a higher octane than I intended, I'd waste some money, but again, no damage done. When I insert the correct nozzle and squeeze it to start the flow of gas, I don't have to worry about mistakenly overfilling the tank. Thankfully, modern cars have an automatic shutoff valve that detects when the tank is full and then cuts off the flow of gas. That means no overflow and no spill. I don't get gasoline on my clothes, and we keep spilled gas out of nearby soil or water sources. Now, we do need to be careful when it comes to the diesel nozzle that might be on the same pump as the nozzle that dispenses the different types of unleaded gas. Being careful, though, isn't good enough. If your company has a fleet of vehicles, some unleaded, some diesel, it's only a matter of time before somebody puts unleaded fuel into a diesel engine, creating a costly repair. You'll notice that the diesel pump's nozzle is larger in diameter than the unleaded gas pump. This prevents us from putting diesel fuel into a car that runs on unleaded. That's mistake-proofed. However, the opposite mistake isn't prevented through this design, as it is possible to put unleaded fuel, the smaller nozzle, into a diesel vehicle's fuel tank. Strangely enough, putting unleaded fuel into a diesel engine is far more damaging than the opposite. Why isn't it also mistake-proofed in that direction? It has to do with the history of gas pumps. The old standard back in the day was leaded gasoline. When unleaded gasoline was introduced, the nozzles were intentionally made smaller to prevent people from putting leaded fuel into unleaded vehicles. When leaded gas was phased out, the same size, larger nozzle was used for diesel. Given a chance to start over, unleaded gas should probably have the larger nozzle, but the standard had already been established. Some mistakes can be prevented, while in other situations, the best we can do is mitigate the impact of a mistake. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you forgot to put the fuel nozzle back into the pump before driving away? You think that couldn't happen? It might happen if you're distracted or if you're just having a really bad day. According to a 2010 New York Times article, this mistake happens once a month at any given gas station. Rather than expecting people to behave perfectly, and better than putting up a warning sign that says, "Hey, don't forget to return the nozzle to the pump," what's better is the design of the nozzle and hose. In most cases, the hose connecting the nozzle to the pump has a quick-release breakaway connector in the middle. If you try driving off with the nozzle connected to your fuel tank, it will break away, immediately cutting off any flow of gas. This prevents spills and the risk of fire. Now, you might have to pay for some damage to that hose, but the mistake proofing makes it safer and better for everybody involved. Here's one last example from the gas pump. Look at the warnings and cautions that are posted. Those tend to be things that cannot be mistake proofed. For example, signs instruct you to turn off your vehicle and, of course, no smoking. Think about how it might be possible to prevent someone from fueling up while the engine is running. Regulators might require automakers to have an interlock that prevents the fuel door from opening unless the engine is first shut off. Or the act of removing the gas cap would automatically shut down the engine. Remember, the best mistake proofing is inexpensive and doesn't slow down the work being done. Apparently, it's been decided that the cost of preventing us from fueling up with the engine on isn't worth the benefit, something we might need to consider in our own mistake proofing efforts. To learn more about mistake proofing for your organization, check out the full mistake proofing course at tkmgacademy.com.